Welcome to This Explainer. You know, when we think about drug approval, we usually picture lab coats, test tubes, and microscopes, right? But behind all that science is a massive, highly regulated data machine. Today, we're zooming in and looking exclusively at the clinical data lifecycle. We are talking everything from initial data collection all the way to the final database lock. And we'll explore the specific roles, like data managers and biostatisticians, who keep these incredibly complex gears turning. To really grasp the scale of what we're talking about here, just look at this astronomical figure, $2.6 billion. That is the average cost to bring a single new drug to the market. Let that sink in for a second. And a huge portion of that investment goes directly into the clinical data lifecycle. It's funding the intricate, painstaking process of data collection, data entry, and the meticulous cleaning required to actually prove a drug works. To put that scale into perspective, in just one clinical trial network spanning 226 sites, you can easily generate over 289,000 documents. I mean, imagine that mountain of paperwork. And this is the raw material for the data collection and data entry stages. Clinical data managers and monitors are the folks tasked with taking this chaotic sea of information and transforming it into a highly structured, impeccable database. Okay, let's dive right into Section 1, Rules, Subject, Safety First. So the Declaration of Helsinki lays out this absolute golden rule. The interests and welfare of the individual research subject must always take precedence over the interests of science in society. For quality assurance teams, or QA, this isn't just a suggestion, it's the ultimate guiding principle. Throughout the entire data lifecycle, QA has to ensure strict data integrity is maintained, simply because flawed data directly compromises subject safety. There is absolutely no cutting corners here. Practically speaking, this ethical mandate starts with informed consent. You introduce the study, educate the patient, verify the understand, let them decide, document the choice, and maintain that consent. But if you look at this from a data perspective, this 6-step process is literally the very first piece of data collection. A data manager has to verify that this exact sequence is perfectly documented before any other stage of the clinical data lifecycle can even begin. Moving along, let's look at Section 2, Phases, Proving it works. So the way clinical data professionals work actually shifts pretty dramatically across these 4 testing phases. In phases I and I, data managers and biostatisticians are cleaning incredibly sensitive, complex data sets from small groups of patients over a couple of years. But by phase 3, that scales up to thousands of patients globally. Suddenly, programmers and data cleaners are dealing with massive streams of data, building toward a really high-stakes global database lock. And then phase 4 shifts everything into long-term data surveillance. And through all these phases, the margin for error is literally razor thin. Check out this real-world example. A site took a blood sample at 5 hours instead of the required 4, but they recorded it as on time. Well, it wasn't until the data cleaning and query management stages that the biostatisticians actually caught the anomaly. Their diligence absolutely protected the trial's integrity, but man, that single 1-hour deviation invalidated the safety profile and delayed the entire multi-million-dollar program by 11 months. Which brings us nicely to Section 3, Tech, Managing the Chaos. Before we go further, let's clear up some industry alphabet soup. CTM, or Clinical Trial Management, handles the operational side of things. You know, site budgets, staff, that kind of stuff. But for this explainer, we are zooming in entirely on CDM, Clinical Data Management. This is where the true data lifecycle lives. CDM is 100% focused on the quality and integrity of the clinical database, which includes electronic case report forms, medical coding, and those incredibly strict audit trails. Now, as you can see here, a clinical trial management system, or CTMS, is great for operations. It eliminates manual spreadsheet tracking, prevents missed payments, secures documents, and gives you enrollment oversight. But here's the kicker. The data management team actually operates completely outside of this. Their entire universe is strictly the clinical database. They are focused solely on ensuring the data lifecycle flows flawlessly from collection through rigorous cleaning all the way down to the final lock. Let's jump into Section 4, Data, the Ultimate Currency. During the data entry and data collection stages, QA teams and monitors enforce an incredibly strict standard. It's called Alcoa Plus. Every single data point has to be attributable, legible, contemporaneous, original, and accurate. And the plus part? That adds complete, consistent, enduring, and available.
It sounds like a lot, but it's simple. If a piece of data cannot meet these exact criteria, in the eyes of the regulators, it simply did not happen. And as you can imagine, cleaning data to meet that Alcoa Plus standard comes with immense pressure, especially during the query management stage. Take this one 5,200 subject trial. The sponsor hit their planned date for database lock, but 12% of the data queries sent to international sites were left unresolved. Because data managers literally cannot lock a database with outstanding queries, the project was delayed by 6 weeks. That delay cost the sponsor roughly $14 million. But it gets wilder. What happens when the data actually looks suspicious? Well, in one case, just 3 days before a trial's database lock, 47 critical primary endpoint values were changed, all on the exact same day, all by one single user account. Thankfully, because monitors and data managers use uneditable audit trails during data cleaning, they caught this massive anomaly just in time, and they halted the lock to investigate potential fraud. And even physical, real-world operations have to be translated directly into the data lifecycle. For example, when a site refrigerator failed over a weekend and potentially compromised 12 subjects' doses, that wasn't just a physical loss. Data managers had to meticulously document that failure through the query management system, making sure the biostatisticians knew exactly which data points might be tainted before they ran any analysis. All right, finally, let's look ahead with Section 5, the future of trials. Decentralized trials and new technologies are completely upending these life cycle stages. Think about it. Wearables and biometric sensors can stream data directly, completely bypassing manual data entry. This is a massive shift because it frees up programmers and data managers to focus strictly on AI-assisted data cleaning. They can use predictive analytics to flag potential errors before they even make it into the database. It's a real game changer. But this rapid evolution brings us to a pretty critical question about data accuracy. If a drug gets approved based on faulty continuous data streams, as algorithms handle more and more of this $2.6 billion machine, who ultimately holds the ethical responsibility when the data gets it wrong? Is it the algorithms, or is it the data managers and biostatisticians? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning the data.